I decided not to stitch a video that that I saw pop up this morning that really kind of got me thinking. And this is going to be probably a video unlike what I usually do. I'm going to go into sort of a tangent. And it was that Jordan Peterson versus 20 atheists thing, which I think used to be called 20 atheists versus a Christian or something. And of course, as someone who fits into the category of an atheist, I suppose, I don't clan with pretty much every atheist I've ever met. I mean, I can have some good discussions with them, but like most of them, it's like they want to be right, not have understanding. Understanding to me is like way more valuable. Like that's way more valuable. So why is it we don't have the same type of aura behind like 20 self-important college kids arguing with some rabbi over God? Right? I mean, I'm sure maybe that kind of thing happened, but like, why is it treated a little differently than what it is with Christianity? Like, well, what is it about modern Christianity that makes the atheists so angry? Now, I realize that there's a lot of hypocrisy that exists inside of modern Christianity. I'll be the first one to point that out, absolutely. But I also see that in just about every other crazy-ass religion I've ever seen. And it doesn't make any difference if it's Islam, it doesn't make any difference if it's Jews, the Hindus, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, every crazy-ass religion, including up to and including the 80 billion years ago, nothing exploded and created everything we know. This is why, by the way, I fit into the category of a non-practicing atheist, because like, none of it makes any sense. I'm with Pete, the comedian. It's like, dude, none of it makes any sense to me. And I think that if we want to have a conversation, I think it's more fruitful to have a conversation where you try to understand what it is that somebody experienced or saw or has somehow, I think that's more fruitful than just a bunch of people arguing to try and be right about something. Those are boring conversations. And it's one of the reasons why, like, for example, I think Jordan Peterson's early work was absolutely awesome. It was. His earlier work was spectacular. Psychology 434, that entire series is brilliant. It's well worth watching. But this other stuff where it's just a bunch of screaming, like, I don't know. I don't know. Hey, maybe to me, that's what it's coming across as. But it doesn't seem like anybody's really taking the time to try and understand something or ask legitimate questions about how someone arrived at that conclusion. So it just comes across to me as just boring. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see it. Why isn't there, 20 self-important atheists, from the university at the academic level screaming at some imam? Why isn't that happening? Probably because you know why that isn't happening. Same thing with like a rabbi or something like that, or a Hindi priest or something like that. I mean, probably because everybody would freak out, and they know that Christians will just sort of lay down and take it, because they do. That's what Christianity does, apparently. I think that's a perversion of what Josh taught. I don't think Josh taught that turn the other cheek thing. That's, I think, a very, very narrow misapplication, in my opinion. Not that I'm the defender of Christianity, but at the same time, I'm also, you can put yourself in that situation for the time and say, yeah, it's one thing to walk away from something that is a fruitless endeavor. It's another thing to just brazenly take a bunch of abuse. That's not the same thing. It's sort of like the coin thing, Christ looks at the coin and says, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. Yeah, he's talking about a worthless coin. That's what he's talking about. The weight and content. That's not in the Bible, by the way. He was looking at it from the Archimedean idea, of like, okay, let's do a displacement test and see how much garbage metal is in this. Oh, it's all crap. There's no gold content in this. So yeah, give this garbage metal back to Caesar. That's really what he said. Had nothing to do with taxation. Taxation had nothing to do with, it had to do with the weight and content of the garbage coin that was being peddled for money at the time. No different than the US dollar, by the way, or the ruble, or the yen, or the rupee, or any one of these fake currencies. The euro, the drachma, dude, none of this stuff is worth anything. The pound sterling, which used to be a pound, Now I don't think it even qualifies anywhere. Like, dude, it's like a fraction. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I mean, like, you guys, I think that what happens is that for whatever reason, Christianity seems to be this really easy target. And Christians make themselves an easy target on this stuff rather than actually taking the time to really understand, in my opinion, what Josh was trying to tell you, which was basically practical on earth stuff. And a lot of Christianity has gotten themselves so heavily minded that they're no earthly good at all. I've run into a bunch of them. They're just waiting on Jesus to fix everything. Bunch of lazy assholes. And by the way, I'm fairly certain that that's exactly what Josh would call you people. You know, the carpenter / shepherd / preacher in other words, the guy who had several different jobs. The guy who had several different physical jobs in which he had to show up and do. There's no Zoom meeting for shepherd. Okay? There's no Zoom meetings for, stacking stone and mixing mortar. Ain't no Zoom meeting for that shit. So the guy who actually showed up and did all the fucking physical work, he'd have called you guys lazy assholes sitting around waiting for Jesus to come back. That's why you're easy targets, by the way, is because of that. I mean, take that in the spirit it's given. And by the way, feel free to take it personal, because you should take that personally. If that's what you're telling people, if that's seriously what you're telling people, if that's what you're telling your kids, assuming you have kids, because there's a whole bunch of people now that don't even want to have kids. And that, by the way, I mean, in terms of religion, if we want to have a real conversation about religion, dude, Christianity is doomed, demographically speaking, because everybody's waiting on Jesus to show up. You're doomed. From a demographic standpoint, you're going to be bred out of existence. Now, I realize Latin America seems to be holding that up, but yeah. In terms of your non-denominational, Protestant work ethic stuff, yeah, that's going away rapidly. Stop me where I'm wrong, because that's what I see. I see a whole nation of people, Americans in particular. Let me talk to Americans. A whole nation of people waiting for someone else, waiting for the orange messiah to fix everything, rather than say, okay, listen, you had about 10 days to do this, orange messiah. Come on. It doesn't take that long to tell everybody to stop paying taxes and withhold payment. That's what I would tell everybody. Like, oh, but then the Congress, I would pardon every murderer out there then, if that were the case. Say, nope. I'm going to pardon everybody with trigger time. You want to fuck with me? I will fuck with you back. I will pardon everybody in every prison with real trigger time. Yeah, hello. That's how you do this shit. Like, we don't need that sort's help. No, that's exactly the sort of people you need. There's a whole movie about that, in fact. The Patriot. That's a direct quote from that movie, by the way. And I hate being an asshole about a lot of this stuff, but I watch this shit and I'm like, what the hell, man? There's a reason why Christianity is no longer really a respectable religion and it gets treated like shit all the time. There's a reason why you have 20 of these self-important, atheist kids that grew up in fucking cul-de-sacs who don't know shit about anything, who know nothing about work ethic at all, trying to win an argument. That shouldn't even be a thing. It should be something, if you want to have a debate or something like that, or have a discussion, not a debate. Debates suck. They're boring. If you want to have discussion and actually understand something, that's one thing. And you want to ask questions, that's one thing. But you also have to be able to accept some of the answers. And some of the answers may not make sense to you, especially if you're younger, by the way. Some of the answers given may not make sense to you for another 35 to 40 years. I run into that quite a bit. Where, like, I can give someone, a 22-year-old kid the answer, but, dude, it may not make any sense to them for another 30 years before they even understand it. That's kind of how that works in some cases. Sometimes life gives you the answer, and then the question comes much later on. It's like it teaches you a lesson, and then it's up to you to find the lesson in all of it. So, there you go.